galaxy is burning. Brother fights brother, and treason splits the Imperium of Man. This is the age of darkness. Whether you're a warrior of the Legiones Astartes, an adept of the Mechanicum, or just a mere mortal in a universe of madness, you'll find a place here. Welcome to the Remembrancers Retreat, coming to you from within the depths of the Vengeful Spirit.
Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Remembrancers Retreat, a Warhammer 30k podcast. My name is Jesse, and I'm here today with Ryan and Shane from the Road to Damnation podcast.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's going on?
So this episode, Ryan, we're going to be talking to some of the Nova Open Charitable Foundation artists.
Yeah, that's right. So this year, we've mentioned it a few times on the podcast and over on the blog, but I've taken over from Dave Taylor, who should be on a little bit later, to help with the 30K portion of the Nova Open Charity Foundation Army raffles. So this year, we had two teams. We had the White Scars team, which comprised of 5 artists, and Shane was kind of the lead for that, putting together color schemes and trying to rally the troops and everything. And then we also had a Night Lords auction, which Dave Taylor and Caleb from CK Studios will be on in a little bit to talk about. So just, I guess, really quick, if you're not familiar with Nova Open Charitable Foundation, there's the Nova Open, right, which is the gaming convention proper. But that really is kind of built around the Nova Open Foundation. So all of the profits of Nova Open, from charity lounge liquor sales and beer sales to profits from selling, event tickets and seminar tickets, etc., all of that gets wrapped up and donated every year. There's three primary charities. So they donate to Doctors Without Borders, the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, and the Fisher House Foundation. And, among all of those other ways that they raise money, they also do charity armies every year. And this year, there are about 40 armies across multiple game systems. There are some, individual kind of like bespoke items like replica swords and stuff like that. So a pretty wide variety of things that you can buy raffle tickets for. Mm-hmm. And they're doing a summer raffle this year. Last year they did 2 raffle seasons. This year they're just doing one. It's the summer raffle. So starting on 1 July, going through to the Sunday of Nova, you can buy raffle tickets. Each lot, the tickets are different costs depending on the lot. But 1 July on NovaOpenFoundation.org, you will be able to look through all of the charity lots, and you'll be able to buy raffle tickets, as many as you want, as few as you want, or you can, cross-load across a bunch of different raffles. And you support charity, and you also get a chance of winning something really cool. So to put it all, overall, since 2013, Nova Open Foundation has raised over $210,000. And that's all from gamers, supporting the community and the charities. And last year alone, they donated $80,000, $40,000 to Doctors Without Borders, $20,000 to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, $20,000 to the Fisher House Foundation, and they also donated $5,000 to the Arlington County Police Department Friends and Family Fund. So if you're at Nova last year, you would have seen all of the police officers and the support that Nova was getting from extra law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And some of those guys ended up being really cool, like checking out armies and sitting around and hanging out and shooting the shit for hours on end because they were at work, but they got to hang out with a bunch of nerds. So it was pretty funny. So that's kind of the Nova Open Foundation and what these raffles are all about. So yeah, I'll kick it over to Shane. So last year we had two leads on charity armies. We had Mark Rayleigh. He had a team of guys that did the World Eaters Army that I think Al Adel won. And then we also had Ryan Kimmel from Radio Free Istvan out in Indiana. He was the lead for the Iron Warriors raffle. So this year, both of those guys wanted to take a break because they do quite a bit for the community, and I think everybody deserves a break every once in a while. So I went out and found a couple other team leads. So the first one I found was Shane, who really was interested in doing a White Scars army. So Shane, I'll kind of kick it over to you with what you guys were working on, what your thought process was on theme, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, cool. So we I know you and I discussed a little bit back and forth on what we exactly wanted to do for the army, and I don't remember, how did we I know we settled. I know I said I wanted to do something white because white's the only color I can really airbrush with.
Well, so you said you were thinking about what was it? You either want to do Shattered Legion or White Scars.
Yeah.
And I said I have a bunch of white. At the time I was collecting a White Scar army, and I said I got a lot of extra White Scar shit. Maybe we could use some of that, and I think that's probably what sold it. And I think you had already done a nice White Scar color scheme for a commission or for a personal army or something.
Yeah, it was for a commission. I actually did a commission for the guy. It's funny, the guy who taught me how to airbrush, he did a White Scars commission, and then he got a huge commission in, and so he got really overloaded. So the guy who he did the White Scars for reached out to him and was like, "Hey, I want some more White Scars." And he was like, "Oh, I'm too busy, but this guy that I taught you, he can also paint these. So why don't you just ask him?" And so I went and did some White Scars for him.
Okay.
And that was probably a few months before you had asked me for help, for a contribution. And so it was kind of, the scheme was fresh in my mind, and I figured, wow, let's do something a little simpler.
Very cool.
But we tried to keep it. We wanted to make sure that with the book being so close, because we weren't, there was a lot of uncertainty when we picked the list. There was a lot of uncertainty on whether or not there would be another delay in the book, whether we would actually get it or not. And so we decided that we would go for a kind of I don't want to call it bland because that's very demeaning, but like a very vanilla sort of list for White Scars, where it still feels White Scars, but it's also not. It wouldn't be completely potentially trashed.
Yeah, wouldn't be
by anything that came out in the book. What's that?
Yeah. And then we started planning this army, I think, back in February, right? So I said the book was rumored to be coming out between February and April, I think, was kind of where it was sitting.
Right. Yeah. And so we were trying to keep that in mind, that we could potentially be finished the army, which is kind of what happened. And then a few days later, here's the book. But it ended up working out. We got a really solid list together that it's not competitive by any means, but it's still solid. You'll be able to play some games and at least put up a decent fight with your opponent, and it'll look great on the tabletop. We had some amazing painters contribute. I know Mongo, that's what we call him on our podcast, The Road to Damnation, from Ruin Storm Painting. We call him RuneScape Painting because it pisses him off. But he cranked out some awesome jet bikes. Nate, he did some amazing work. He did the Praetor, if I remember correctly.
I think so,
yeah, he did the Praetor and the Stormseer.
Yes, that's right.
The two HQs.
Yeah, and he just oh man, he did some beautiful conversion work. Did some custom modeling that he printed out, and just really, I mean, it was great. I mean, we had Robert Cottrell. He did those Eben Kishig, and man, the kit bashing and just the dedication from everyone. Chase, he did the lightning. Mm-hmm. It just turned out fantastic. I mean, it was amazing to see a scheme that, I just kind of told everyone, like, here's how we go about doing this. And it was just amazing to see how every artist just took it and was like, yep, I got it. And just put out a product that really just kind of seamlessly flowed together. Yeah. It was amazing. I was really surprised because I was a little concerned, when you were like, oh yeah, just tell everyone how to do it. Or how you do it, and they'll copy it. And I was like, okay, but all right, like, okay, like I'll trust you, but I'm not buying it. So here it goes, nothing. So I typed it this Word document, laid out all the colors I use, sent it off, and man, it just blew me away to see. I mean, everybody just did a great job and should be extremely proud of the work they put out there.
Yeah, Chase and Robbie personally, and it's always a treat to see their armies whenever they come by with whatever they've been working on. Shane, I don't know if you ever saw Robbie's salamanders, but they're just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, Robbie's got some really nice stuff. He's got that mastodon too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that salamander's mastodon is just wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Yeah, I like that.
So one thing, obviously we had a chat going and everything, and Shane kind of laid out the initial color scheme, and then the guys kicked around different ideas, right? And the one thing I like about how we did this army was that I think everybody donated something, right? Mm-hmm. So like Shane, you did the termite. I threw you some tacticals or some dudes for a tactical veteran squad. Sorry, machine killer veteran squad.
Yep.
Chris did. The combat meltas. Chris threw in like 4 or 5 jet bikes, and I sent him a couple extra. Same thing with Nate. He threw in some jet bikes. He did a lot of like custom bits ordering for his characters, and then like you said, he did 3D printing for the golden Keshig for their spears, which look fantastic. They're like these badass Chinese glaive looking things. Chase donated the lightning, right? And he did a really cool kind of alternate color scheme with the red and the black. Not a lot of white, but like red and black. Which, when I actually got all the models in, and you see everything just kind of laid out, like it's very striking. It's really nice. And then I sent Robbie the Nova Open had purchased some models, right? So I had sent him the Mark IIB Land Raider, and I had sent him the Cataphracti that were donated by Ryan Kimmel, and then he went above and beyond. He's like, I don't really like the tracks on these, so he got Blood and Skull Industry tracks, and so he kit bashed the heck out of those. What were originally supposed to be Cataphractis, but as soon as the Eben Keshig rules dropped, he's like, nope, they're going to be Eben Keshig, and he just did it without telling anyone, and it turned out fantastic.
Yeah, that worked out nice. It was funny too, because I remember he started posting pictures of them, and I had that initial gut reaction where I'm just like, what the hell is that? Because I just see black Terminators. I'm like, okay, like he must be sharing some like local hobby progress. Because I was just completely disconnected at the moment from outside stuff from what was like being released, and I was like, I had no idea that Eben Keshig were black armored. Yeah. So he posts those up, and I was like, at first I was like, what is going on? And then everyone starts like, oh man, like those are so sick. And then once I got my head out of my ass, I was like, oh wow, that's hot.
Yeah. So just some spark notes, because Rob actually sent me some stuff. So because he did the Eben Keshig, right? So he combined some Custodian Alaris Terminator kits to the Cataphracti, which I think is where his power glaives came from. And then, he had the Blood and Skull industry stuff for the Land Raider. And then he also, this was a little bonus that we weren't expecting. He just threw together a squad of Falcon's Claws using, he had some Legionless Scouts that he added some White Scar flavor to. So when you look at, on one, I think in a week, this weekend maybe, they're going to actually send out in the newsletter like all the studio photos of the armies. So people will be able to see them. And then when this drops around 1 July, all of this stuff will be up on the website. But, I was about to say something. Anyway, you'll be able to see pictures of all this stuff, multiple pictures. And we ended up with, even though we didn't really plan this in the original list, basically as soon as Book 8 dropped, everybody kind of said, okay, I'm going to do like one of the special units. So we ended up with Eben Keshik, Falcon's Claws, and then Nate flipped 3 of what were just supposed to be Sky Hunter jet bikes into the Golden Keshik. And he did some of the brass work on the front of those. And so there are three of the unique units from Book 8 are in this slot.
He bashed up those special missiles too.
Yeah, because those are the Shamshir scatter shot.
Yes, say that 3 times.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean he did some good work. He definitely had fun with it. So.
And they turned out great too, which was yeah.
I was, if it wasn't for my honor and the fact that I would actually like to spend more time in this community, I highly contemplated just walking away with the army. But I'd probably have someone showing up. Nate would probably show up at my door and kick the shit out of me and take the army back.
If Robbie didn't get you first.
I was going to say if Robbie didn't get you first.
Robbie would come choke me out. Shane would probably just put on some, work boots or something and just stomp me a little bit. Yeah. Chase would show up. Yeah,
Chase
it'd be a problem. Yeah, he'd drive a tank over me, right?
I liked the freehand too that everybody did really. That they were, they incorporated directly from the leaked pictures of Book 8.
That's right. Yeah,
all the different models. I mean, man, the freehand that Mongo did was insulting. It was so good. I was like, get out, please leave.
Yeah. And I didn't even notice. So this is where leaks help you folks, because we got the leaked pictures and guys started using some of the cool White Scars iconography that leaked to kind of influence, because we knew White Scars were there's an Eastern theme and everything, but when you actually see what the unit markings look like and what the glyphs look like and everything, everybody jumped on it and just started adding that stuff. And I did not even realize, Chris had sent pictures and I see like the bikes have some cool stuff. And then I started pulling stuff out of the box after he sent it to me, and I started noticing he did like freehand icons on the chest plates and, stuff I didn't even notice in the pictures. So it's definitely, if you get a chance to see the army in person at Nova, they'll have it out in one of the cabinets like they do every year. It'll be fun. Pictures are good, but it's definitely nice to see it in person.
Yeah. And white is definitely one of those colors that it can be hard to photograph well. So seeing it in person will be very enlightening. Yeah,
for sure. And so for those that don't know, if you haven't seen it on the blog or on the Nova Open page, so it's a Chagorian Brotherhood army. It's probably but it's definitely over 2,000 points. So it's got a Praetor that's the way that Nate did it, he put him on, he's standing on a base, but it's like a 60 mil base with the bike that goes behind him. So you could either run the Praetor as a foot model, or you can run him as a bike. He's got a Stormseer on a bike. We've got 3 units of 3 jet bikes. 6 of those are magnetized, so you can either use them as the Sky Hunter jet bikes or what the heavy support choice is, the Sky Slayers, I think. We have a 10-man veteran squad and a termite, all with combo meltas. Just combo melted the shit out of it.
Can never have enough melta.
Yeah. The Eben Keshig are in Mark IIB Land Raider. You have a unit of Falcon's Claws, 5 of them, with a mix of power weapons and stuff. And then there's the Lightning. There's also a unit of Golden Keshig. So in total, there are 14 jet bikes in the army, something like 10 powered armored dudes, 5 cataphracti, 5 scouts, the Land Raider, the termite, and that might be it. Still a good chunk of an army, you know.
That'd be fun.
It's a solid force, and if you do win the army in the raffle, you know, be more than happy to share my paint recipe if you decide you want to add to it. It's super simple. Anybody can do it. You do need to know how to use an airbrush, which if you don't know how to use it and you win this army, first off, well, props to you. Secondly, again, reach out. I'll teach you. I do airbrush lessons for free, so I don't mind teaching. I can do it over Skype or Facebook Messenger or whatever.
All right, yeah, and for this army, and actually for the next one we're going to talk about, if I remember correctly, the raffle tickets are $3 each. These particular auctions are on the unlimited category, I believe, so you will be able to buy as many as you want.
As many,
and
as
you can add to it, so you can buy 10 one month, 30 the next month, whatever. And they'll do the drawings the Sunday of Nova, and they ship worldwide, so you don't have to be local. You don't have to be at Nova Open to win. If you live in Australia or Europe or Southeast Asia and you win it, Nova will ship it to you. I think free of charge. I'm pretty sure they'll just ship it to you. So don't let that slow you down. And it's going to go to it's going to go to a good cause.
Very cool.
So
yeah, I think we picked Toys for Tots, right?
No, that's not Toys for Tots. It is. Now you're going to challenge me. I'm going to have to look it up. I think we did Fisher House for the White Scars.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with Fisher House, this is a charity that provides services to Gold Star families. So military families, U.S. military families that have had a soldier, airman, marine, or seaman killed in action. This charity is designed to help make, all of showing up to the airport to view their loved ones, going through the process and the traveling, trying to give them a place that's comfortable so that they can attend funeral services and get the support that they deserve. So that's what that foundation is about. I've had friends and their family who have used it, and it's definitely a very worthy cause. So anyone in the military will know what Fisher House is, but if you don't know what it is, that's pretty much it. So it's a good cause. And I think with that, Jesse, unless, Shane, if you don't have anything else, or do you have any other thoughts about the Army?
Nah, man, we covered it pretty well. That's about it, man.
Okay. Excellent. Well, Jesse, did you have anything for Shane?
No, you guys pretty much laid it all out. Any questions I had pretty much answered.
Okay. Yeah, and I think, Jesse, we'll make sure that we have the Nova Open Charity Foundation link in the show notes.
Absolutely.
We'll put your podcast in the show notes. Mm-hmm. And, yeah. So, Shane, I appreciate you coming on. I think we're going to take a quick break, and we'll move on to the Night Lords, guys.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Shane.
Thanks, brother.
All right, we are back. We're here with Caleb from CK Studios and Dave Taylor. So, Night Lords.
Yeah, so
let's talk about this army.
Yeah, so the second charity army that we're doing this year, I say we because I'm going to claim credit for all the artists' work, is Night Lords. So we had set up the White Scars army back in February timeframe, and we're kind of struggling on finding another army to do. I didn't really have an idea of what we wanted to do. Nova, they weren't pushing to have another army, but I knew that it would be nice to have a second army, kind of because most years there's at least 2 of the Heresy armies. So I happen to have been sitting on about 1,000 points of a Zone Mortalis Night Lords list that I had been aching to do for like the last 2 years and never got around to. And I figured if I could find 2 really talented people to work on those models, that maybe I could win them and not have to paint them myself. No, I'm okay. So I reached out to Caleb and Dave. Dave had said, hey, I'll help out if you need it. As some of you know, Dave has been heavily involved in Nova Open Charity, and this is his first year working on some other projects, but he still volunteered to help paint this one. And Caleb also was pretty excited. So what we have for the Night Lords is a Zone Mortalis Assault Force. So it's 1,000-point army straight up, and it's pretty small but pretty nice. We have Sevatar as the leader. We have a tactical squad. We have 2 Terminator squads, and we have a Contemptor Dreadnought, and it fits nicely into a 1,000-point army that you can deep strike some Terminators in and have Sevatar and the Contemptor running around the board doing cool stuff. So with that, I'll kind of turn it over to you guys, and you can maybe, Caleb, if you want to talk about your paint scheme and what you're thinking when you first got the project.
All right, so I received the TAC squad, and of course the Dreadnought. I've only painted about 1,000 of those things in the last 2 years now. It was really fun. Yeah, it was fantastic. I actually had a class in Oklahoma the week that I could section off the time to be able to work on this model. I was out in training, and in between training, I went and taught a class in Oklahoma City. So I just brought the Dreadnought with me, and that was actually my example model for the class. So I was able to kind of double dip or get a little double duty on that model. So that was nice. Fantastic model. The Forge World Dreadnoughts are always just spot on. They're so gorgeous.
Yeah.
So man, he was fun to paint. Vibrant blue. I love the colors that me and Dave settled on. Kind of stuck mainly to GW. Was able to play around with the glazes a bit and get some real nice dynamic light and color into them. So you'll see it's very much that CK Studio kind of style of Dreadnought. I thought the Dreadnought might be able to be just a little flashier because he's going to be kind of a standalone unit, whereas the TAC squad I wanted to mute down a little bit so that they tie in a lot better with the Terminators and everything. They look more cohesive. Mm-hmm. So I muted them down just a little bit, but I kept the Dreadnought a bit vibrant. The really fun part about this this project for me was I decided to try a new idea for doing lightning. I wanted to try something out, and we moved over to Hardroom Steenbeck, and they've got that tiny 0.15 detail airbrush. So I was like, oh, that's going to be perfect if you can do little pencil thin lines with the airbrush.
Yeah.
Give that really vibrant kind of ethereal look to the lightning, and it didn't work very well. I still say the 0.15 is just too small to airbrush with acrylic paints. I know some guys have good luck with it. I couldn't get it to detail very well, so I just switched back over to the 0.2, which was fantastic as it was. I was able to pull everything off, just a little bit of brushwork. So I think probably the standout item on my side of the army is going to be the lightning effect. It's very, very sharp, very realistic, really catches the eye. Mm-hmm. And then I stayed with mainly that deep, rich blue colors of the Night Lords, a little bit of red accents just to help draw the eye. And then, of course, all the bone filigree and detail work. But yeah, that was about it. They were fun. They were great models, and I hope whoever gets them is really going to enjoy the look of them. I think they're pretty sharp.
I'm sure they will. It looks really, really good.
Yeah, they ended up looking great. I'm really happy with how the whole force turned out. Because I got to be honest, at the start when I said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to help out. I can paint a couple of squads of Terminators or whatever it might happen to be," and in my mind I was thinking, "Please not Night Lords. Please not Night Lords."
Really?
Yeah, mainly because of the lightning.
Yeah. And then you have Caleb showing off with all these cool lightning.
Yes, exactly. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna try this new airbrush technique, and it's gonna be fantastic." And I was just thinking, "Oh my god, I still haven't done anywhere near enough airbrushing to even contemplate sort of approaching that." But when I finally sat down to it, I had everything done. I had all the Terminators finished and had Savitar all done and that sort of thing. I was like, okay, right, I'm going to sit down this afternoon. I'm just going to work on the lightning. I had to do all the lightning at once just to sort of make sure it looked cohesive. So I was pretty happy with how it turned out. And I think even though I didn't use that 0.2 airbrush, I think we've got a pretty cohesive looking force. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the pleasure of seeing them the last weekend. I had to drop off the White Scars with Lori. And so your models were all sitting there. And yeah, you guys were pretty much a country away from each other. We got East Coast and kind of West Coast, right? Caleb, you're out west somewhere. And here we go. It looked really good. It looks cohesive. A relatively small model count, but for 1,000 points of ZM, they're going to look great on the board. They'll look great in your display cabinet too, and you can say that you painted them if you really need to.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. But
that's kind of one of the challenges when you do get a couple of different artists working together on a project. I remember a couple of years ago we did some of the Ultramarines. I want to say it was for Nova.
Yeah.
Kind of drawing a blank on it, but man, all of them started to show up, and there was about 7 or 8 different painters, and some of them looked like different armies.
Yeah.
So it's really neat that we were able to adjust our paint style a little bit to make sure that it blended. It was fun. It was a really fun, kind of a challenge, but I really enjoyed it. I'm really appreciative I got invited to do that this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
I gotta say, when I saw on Caleb, I saw the pictures of you doing your class, but I didn't. So I got those just as part of the CK thing. And I was like, I know that that Contemptor. I know what he's doing there. But seeing that thing come together was great, and that's one of my favorite Contemptors from Forge World is the Night Lords one, just because it's like, well, it's just super brutal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and then the filigree you guys were doing with the bone accents and the lightning effects really do bring it all together. So I'm excited to see it. I'm excited for people to be able to see it when they do the photo shoot and put out pictures on the 1st, and then obviously they'll be in the case at Nova Open if you're there in person.
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to be at Nova to win the army, so you can buy raffle tickets and ship them anywhere in the world. That we don't have an embargo against right now, I guess.
Yeah, I guess there are countries we won't ship to.
Yeah, for legal reasons, but yeah, for the most part, anywhere in the world.
Yeah. It's kind of, I got to admit, at the moment I'm feeling kind of strange because the last few years when I've sat down to talk with you guys, it's been like, oh yeah, I've been coordinating these like 40 different projects for the Nova Open Charitable Foundation, but yeah, as I said earlier, this year it was like I needed to step back from that so I could focus on some business and some family stuff. But I know at the time when I sort of resigned from the board that Laurie was really worried. She was,
I'm sure.
How are we going to get all this together? And I said, it'll be fine. People will step up. People will do what they should do. And looking at the sort of the broad range of stuff that's available this year, it's like, man, that's super cool. I'm so glad that this year looks like it's the best year ever. So,
yeah, we certainly hope so. Last year I think you guys doubled what you had been able to donate the previous year. So hopefully there's a little bit of an increase on what the charities make and what Nova is able to donate.
Yeah, yep. I think it's going to be pretty impressive this year. I think last year we were shooting for like 100,000. Well, we would have really loved 100,000, but our target was 60.
Yep.
But I think this year there's a possibility to get closer to that, towards that 100,000.
Yeah,
which would be pretty amazing. I think especially as well because of the that Warlord Titan.
Oh yeah.
It was fantastic last year. We did almost $15,000 with the Warlord Titan, but
oh really?
Wow.
Yeah,
I knew it was a lot. I didn't realize it was that much.
Yeah, it was maybe it was probably about 14,000. I know it sounds more impressive to say almost 15, but
no, that's still impressive. So speaking of Warlords, Caleb, I think CK Studio is doing a Warlord for Nova Open Charity Foundation this year.
Yeah, they definitely set the bar high with how well they did last year. So we're excited. This was quite the project. It's kind of funny how it kind of fell on us. At Las Vegas Open, we're sitting there and we're kind of finishing up with some. Let's see, was it Las Vegas Open? Yeah, it was Las Vegas Open. It's at the end of the show and we're kind of sitting around. We're talking with the GW guys and stuff, and Kat comes up to me and she's like super excited. She says, "Hey, so I was talking with James over there at oh goodness, I guess I can't mention that." Anyway, she's talking to somebody who works for a good company, and they had mentioned that our name had come up, me in particular, to do a Warlord for them for the charity foundation. They're unable to donate in their name, so they want us to do it. And, Warlord, Kat was thinking something more like one of the knights. Or, so she went ahead and volunteered me. And I'd already kind of agreed to do the Night Lords, and we were coming into a pretty busy section of our year with bringing on the new artists and everything like that. And she goes, "Hey, so I hope you don't mind, but I told him you would do this." And my reaction to her was, hey, you realize that thing's the size of a small toddler, right? And the look on her face, she was like, wow. So I sat down about it and I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to figure out my schedule and see how I'm going to fit this thing in and try to get this thing banged out. So we started talking about it, and then we started talking to some of our other artists and let them know, hey, my schedule might tighten up a bit. And everybody said, well, let's do a team project. Let's all work on this, because everybody wanted to kind of get a piece of it. It's a Warlord Titan. Who doesn't want to paint one, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we decided. We got very excited. Maybe we went a little too far in our ideas and what we want to do. And then, of course, everybody is very busy. We have two full-time artists with Sam Lentz and Vince Ventrella. They've got their studios, they've got their YouTubes and Twitch feeds and everything like that. They're traveling, they're teaching. Vince, I want to say he's traveled to like 6 countries, different countries since we decided we were going to do this project. And then Justin Kiefer and myself painting, and then we brought on Carl Tuttle from Independent Characters. He's doing all of the background. He's gonna write up a full background story for it. super awesome. I'm not going to give any hints out to it.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I'm just going to drop there and say, I think that's a fantastic idea. That is just so awesome that the Warlord Titan is going to have its own background that has been crafted by somebody who just loves working in that sort of area. So that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, so it's really fun, you know, having the team project. But, man, trying to get everybody together. You know, we had such a large group, and everybody's schedules got to meet up, match up. In fact, I'm just finishing up working on the head now. I'm doing the armature and the head, and then I got the armor plates base coated and sent out to Sam and Vince. And Sam's been working on some of the freehand. I don't know if a few of you guys have seen the little sneak peeks that we've sent out. We're trying not to do too much.
I've seen some of them, but yeah, you haven't been posting a whole lot, but I figured a lot was going on behind the scenes. You were just teasing people.
Yeah, we did a few teases, but mainly we wanted it to. We're trying to keep this kind of low key a little bit so that people are excited. Yeah. I mean, everybody knows there's a Warlord Titan out there. You know, we were pretty shy about the color scheme. If you were at Adepticon, you probably saw me painting on it and stuff. I had a few of the pieces out as I was working. But yeah, we finally got those out, and Sam's been working on the freehand. His ideas right now are so phenomenal. Man, it's just gorgeous, and it's simple freehand. It's not, you know, there's a couple of those Titans that are out there that, while they're just magnificent paint jobs, like murals all over them, they become a little too busy. You end up kind of losing the idea that it's a Warlord Titan, a war machine. We wanted to keep that rugged war machine look to it, so we made sure that the freehand just complements the model, not overwhelms the model. So there's going to be a lot of, maybe at first you look at it and go, oh, that's really neat. And then you get closer and you go, oh, wow, that's really neat. And that's our goal, you know, is to draw people in. So they're working diligently on it right now. They're going to actually meet up next weekend, Vince and Sam, to bang out the really complex pieces, get those all done. So we should have some stuff. The Titan will go up for raffle on July 1st, and I have a really neat idea for how we're going to kind of market it, because it's still in production, you know, it's still built and assembled. I don't think I'll have the entire Titan to me until the second week of July. So we're definitely going to miss the deadline for the photos and all of that stuff. But I have a nice little idea for how we're going to kind of market it. I think it'll be kind of fun.
No, that's excellent. Yeah. I mean, considering the size of the thing and the relatively short timeline, you know, that you guys got to work on it, and the fact that you are fairly busy people with all the travel and classes, and I think you're doing an admirable job. I'm really looking forward to seeing it in person this year.
Well, thank you. Yeah, he's gonna he's neat looking. It's gonna be a man. I want to talk so much about it, but I'm like, you know, I gotta be like, oh, we don't want to. You know, we will give out the teaser. The Titan's name is going to be Siege of Heaven.
Okay.
So that kind of gives it a little bit of the theme. You can kind of. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll ask you this, since we're a heresy podcast: is it going to be 30K narrative or 40K narrative? I'm thinking it's probably 40K, right?
The narrative actually spans all the way through 30K and into 40K.
Nice. Okay.
It's really neat, and the really cool thing, I guess I should mention all this. You know, Dev Sodagar is helping us with doing the editing and stuff. What we're going to offer with the Titan this year, I guess there's an event that you can join at Nova. I'm not sure what the tickets are or anything like that, but when you attend it, we'll have a book that we're doing that goes along with the Titan, and it has the entire backstory. I can't tease it too much, but it's like the foundation of the Titan and when it joined the house that it was in and how it was assembled, and then a bunch of stuff happens. You know, there's a lot of nice narrative to it.
There's some narrative 40K events. There's a narrative apocalypse, so it might be one of those that they would fit into pretty well.
Yeah, Carl's just, he's loving this project, to write this narrative, and he's enjoying it very much, and just the ideas and stuff. I think it's going to be really cool, but that book's going to have that narrative in it. It's going to have that whole backstory and everything to the Titan. And then it's also going to have some tutorials, a few of the step-by-step tutorials. So each artist is to pick out like one or two topics or techniques that they use painting on the Titan. And we'll have like a step-by-step detailed photos with descriptions and stuff like that, some of the color recipes we used, how we came about using that stuff, a little bit of like kind of the development of it. I think Sam's going to talk a little bit about the development of the freehand and kind of what some of the freehand means and why it was chosen and stuff like that. So it's going to be pretty in-depth. That's not only just for the person that wins the Titan, but that will be available to, I believe, most of the people that are going to do the Meet with CK Studios event. I don't know if it's like a luncheon or something like that. I probably should have researched that before I got on this, but man, I'm bad at this stuff. You can tell I'm not really the lead on this.
No, that's all right.
But it's going to be a really fun project. It's going to be very immersive, and I hope everybody enjoys it. I hope that it inspires those ones that didn't win one to reach out and eventually get one, maybe. And man, with the new Apocalypse rules coming out, I think that thing will see action on the table pretty soon.
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Sounds good. Do you have anything else, Caleb, on the CK contribution? I know you guys have a number of seminars going on this year at Nova. You guys weren't at Nova last year, I think, right? Just due to scheduling. But it sounds like you guys are going to be hitting Nova pretty hard this year.
Yeah. Last year, I needed to take a little bit of break between all the classes and everything and all the conventions. I was getting a little burned out. And that
of course.
Right there at Labor Day. So I took a little break from all of them. We didn't do Reaper or any of those. Of course, they all kind of fell on the same weekend. But no, this year we're back, and actually we're back with a fury, I guess you could say. Not only will I be teaching classes, but Sam Lentz will be doing classes before the event. So I know Roman did those last year, and Sam is stepping in to do those this year. The little bit I've heard about the class that he's got designed for Nova is going to be incredible. What a fantastic class!
I'm actually looking at it now. So it's Sunday through Tuesday. You get a 3-day class with Sam Lentz. Which, that's pretty fantastic. I mean,
it's just if you want to take your painting to the next level, if you want to level up, I mean, almost no matter what level you are, that kind of time that you're going to spend with him and the one-to-one that you'll get in that small of a class is just, it's going to be incredible. So that's going to be great. Justin Kiefer is doing a few standard classes, and then Nova's trying something new this year. He's going to have like mini classes where it's just 1 or 2 or 3 students. I think you can book it in groups or you can book it individual. I don't know where that is in sales. I don't have numbers or anything on that, but I know that some of it is still available. So if you're interested in looking at something like that, that's going to be really neat. That'll be during the actual show. It won't be like beforehand or anything like that.
Okay.
But he'll be teaching that. Kat will be teaching, I want to call it classical art, like I hate to say legitimate art because I don't want to say that miniature painting is illegitimate. But she does these really neat pouring classes with acrylic pouring.
I saw that.
You saw the pictures at LVO. So she's going to be doing those. I believe the majority of those are on Friday, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
So she's going to be doing that. And then, of course, I have my full range of classes. They're all supported by GW, which was great this year. We're going to be doing the terrain class again, where you get to paint on a little piece of terrain. It's one of the Imperial Sanctums or something like that.
Yeah, one of the new ones that came out. Yeah. Because I think at Adepticon, you guys were doing armigers, like the baby knights. Is that right?
Yeah, we did the armigers. We'll be doing the armigers again at Gen Con. But at Nova this year, instead of the armigers, what we're going to do is we're going to paint orc buggies. So it's going to be more of a vehicle. We'll get to do a little more weathering, a little more, vehicle eccentric. And I thought the orc buggies would just be fun, to really get into a fun set of models. So, definitely take a look at the class offerings. Vince Ventrella is going to be there teaching. I don't have a list of his classes. Sam will have some classes during the regular event too. I don't have a list of his classes in front of me either. And then of course all the other artists that are going to be there. I mean, Nova has really gone out of their way to bring in as many quality artists as possible. And the guys at Stick Neck are going to be there. And gosh, there's so many. It's hard to list, and I don't want to forget anybody. So if you're looking at classes, definitely look into that. And if unfortunately you're not able to make Nova, if you're interested in doing more classes with us, just take a look at the CK Studios page. We're traveling all over the place. In fact, Justin should be in New Jersey like the weekend before Nova.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're unable to make Nova, or if you've made the unfortunate decision of going to Dragon Con or ReaperCon instead of going to Nova, you'll catch us. You can catch us somewhere else.
Yeah. So I've been lucky enough to do 2 of your classes. I did the 101 with you, Caleb, out in Philly, and then I did Vince's class with the Night Titan out in Philly earlier this year. And so, yeah, I absolutely, if you get a chance to check out Nova, either at a convention or at one of their weekend classes, I highly recommend it. Looking at the Nova Open, so if you're trying to find seminars for CK Studios or any of the other paint studios or classes out there, if you go to the NovaOpenStore.com, you can search by instructor, seminar focus, etc. But for example, for CK Studios, there's a drop down for CK, and it's got all of their classes they're doing. And you guys have that Meet CK Studios Friday night, it looks like. So 10:15 to 11:30 p.m. Sounds like probably grab some drinks at the bar, then go talk about a Warlord Titan for a little bit. Sounds like a good time.
Definitely
grab the drink.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Caleb. Dave, I know you've been up to a few things. You want to kind of talk about what you've been up to?
Sure. Actually, just before I jump to that, I want to also let people know about the Capital Palette painting competition.
Oh, yes.
So obviously, having Caleb and myself on, we're going to be talking about painting a lot. But this year for the Capital Palette, last year we had the competition split into apprentice, journeyman, and masterclass divisions, and it was myself, Roman Lapat, and Matt DiPietro did the judging for all of the competition. And I got back to my room at 4 a.m. Sunday morning. So it took a lot out of us, really.
Yeah.
I think Roman had to be up at like 7 o'clock for a class. So it wasn't a great way to go. So what we've done this year, mainly because of we keep getting more and more entries, we've split it into, we have 3 different judging panels now. So we've got, Caleb mentioned Stiff Neck Studios, so that's Wes Cogdell and his team. So Wes and David Jensen and Alex Good are the judges for the apprentice division. Myself, Mark Rayleigh, and Jeff Jenkins. You guys definitely know Mark, and I think you probably know Jeff as well.
Yes.
We'll be judging the journeyman category. And then the masterclass judging panel is Matt DiPietro is returning from last year. Sam Lentz is going to be there, and of course, Caleb.
Oh, okay.
Is our third judge in the masterclass judging panel. So we'll be doing all of our judging at the same time. So what I'm really hoping is that we'll be finished before last call.
Ben, I wanted to interrupt you and go, wait, what?
Yeah. if people understood what was going on, you should be like fed drinks. You should have random people walking up trying to feed you drinks and say, "Hey, what do you think about number 103? Because I really like this one too. What do you think?"
This Jack and Coke says that it's really good.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm actually doing Capital Palette. Mark Rayleigh and a couple of the guys down in Richmond have convinced me that it's worth doing, even just to get some good critiques on your work. And it's like I think a $5 entry per model. It's like $5 or $10. So take a couple pieces that you're proud of, that you like, or that you want to spend a little bit extra time on, and just see what you get. You'll get some good feedback, if nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's one of the things that I'm going to be doing at Nova, as well as spending a whole bunch of time at the Nova Open Charitable Foundation booth selling tickets.
Yes,
so, I've got to put in my time somehow. But so I've been working on that, making sure that's all sort of squared away. And I think the last time I spoke with you guys, it was about the Terrain Essentials terrain book that I'm working on with Mel Bowes, the terrain tutor.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
So we had the Kickstarter ran in March and April and went incredibly well. We're very excited about how well it's done. We're going through the process now of Mel's writing the book and taking photos. I'm getting the text through and working on some layout ideas, some different design ideas. It's been a fun one because a lot of the way that I've done a lot of my layout work previously has either been I've written it and I've taken the photos and I know exactly how I want it to look, or somebody else has written it, it's all been edited, it's all ready to go, and I've been provided photos, so I just have to create a nice balanced layout. With this one, Mel's not a professional writer, but he knows exactly what he's talking about.
Right.
So there's some editing that needs to go on, but not for content, but mainly for sort of some style stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And because I don't know exactly what's going to be written, and I know that it's going to be written over the next 2 months, I can't lay everything out sort of all at once. So Mel and I are having a fun time working out sort of the best way for us to work together and get things through so that everybody can feel comfortable about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been pretty exciting over the last month or so, getting all that together, which is nice. But we're getting into a good rhythm now. Mel's just started on sort of he's got his schedule sort of timed out. Like this week I've got to work on this build and this photography. The next week is working on that build, getting that started. So last week was all the texturing and groundwork kind of stuff. A whole bunch of different ideas, different techniques that you can use. This week I think there was some painting. Next week I think is painting and sort of grasses and foliage and that kind of thing. And it just keeps sort of rolling on through the summer. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to sort of finally see that starting to come together.
Yeah, I've been following the progress on the Terrain Tutor Facebook page, and obviously I get the emails and stuff, and it's just fun. It's fun to watch, and I can tell you guys are having fun with it. I know quite a few of us on the Remembrancers Retreat backed it, and I'm sure quite a few of the listeners backed it, and I know everybody's looking forward to it. And I'm, hopefully you're having fun doing it. And,
it's great fun. It's and it's one of the things I love doing is taking text and taking images and creating some sense of order out of them.
Sure.
And it's when I said that Mel knows what he's talking about, it's even to the point where I've been reading through it. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that. I really didn't know that.
Are you taking like 10 minutes at a time to go build some, build some terrain?
I'm not jumping into it immediately.
Yeah. Take little notes, like I'm going to come back to this.
Yeah, no, I have a plan for a build that I want to do. I want to do like a Necromunda, sort of underhive / ash waste kind of thing.
Yeah.
For like a Gene Stealer Cult Uprising.
Yes.
Do a table, like a 6x4 table that's sort of specifically, like really specifically focused on that kind of idea.
Mm-hmm.
And my initial thoughts on how I was going to do it were like, oh, yeah, I'll just do it this way and that way. And reading through, it's like Mel goes, well, you could do it that way, but it's better if you do it this way. Like, instead of using a whole bunch of PVA and sand, try texturing spackle.
Yeah.
Spackle doesn't contract as it dries because it's supposed to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which means that any bases you've got stuff on it is less prone to warping. It's like that all makes complete sense. I love it. I love it when physics make sense. And so yeah, so it's been cool to learn that stuff as well. So I'm excited to get the book out and to build this Gene Stealer Cult Uprising table.
Nice. Yeah, I've been watching your Gene Stealer cults on your Instagram too.
Yep. Having a lot of fun with those. It was one of those things where it was when I originally bought a whole army of Gene Stealer Cult when they came out, and I painted the first 10 neophytes, and then sort of put everything into a box and put it aside.
Right.
It was like, these guys are really like, they're a real pain in the ass to paint, really. But then when the Ridge Runner popped up earlier this year, the Achilles Ridge Runner model, I was like, that is just so cool. And I immediately spent the rest of the night looking for that box of Gene Stealer Cult. So, yeah, now I'm at about 120 power level, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. But definitely good. But, yeah, so complete sidetrack there. One thing I was going to say with the terrain book, Terrain Essentials, our backer kit is still open at the moment. I think it'll be open until the end of September. But if people want to take a look at the project, they can check it out on Kickstarter. So all the project page is still up there. And then there's there should be a link to the backer kit. And people can check it out if they're interested in buying a copy. So it's basically like a pre-order store. You can
nice. Very nice.
Definitely good. But yeah, so that's kind of been me.
Well, thanks. Yeah, that's good updates. Fantastic. Jesse, did you have anything for the guys?
No, I definitely. It's just been awesome to watch the progress on the Night Lords and basically everything on your Instagrams. It's pretty cool to watch. Thank you guys for coming on tonight and talking about this. And here's to a awesome charity drive.
Yes. And we'll see you guys at Nova. If you don't know, Wednesday night, Remembrancers Retreat is hosting a heresy. Well, we're hosting the Keg Night on Wednesday, but we're doing a heresy pub quiz. So nice. brush up on your Black Library lore, or don't, and just come drink. But I think that, what is that, Jesse? Like 8 to 10 or 10 to 12 or something?
So we'll be upstairs from 8 to 10, and the trivia contest will start a little bit after 9, giving people time who went to the Games Workshop preview to come on up. And
that's right.
Yep, and then we'll start the trivia and hand out awards before 10. And it's going to be a good time.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's a good way to kick off the convention, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I usually arrive Wednesday night, so that sounds perfect.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, we hope to see everybody there.
All right. I think we're good, Jesse.
Yeah. All right. Well, definitely, Dave, Caleb, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, excellent. No worries.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.
Absolutely. And feel free sometime down the road and come on back again. Maybe we'll do a debriefing on the charity drive.
Yeah. Or, next year you can be on talking about your other project that you're doing for NOCF.
The next thing.
We'll do a full maniple next time.
Oh, don't say it out loud.
Oh, I should not have said that.
I'm sure you meant like an Adeptus Titanicus maniple. Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Nice.
All right.
All right, gents. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I guess we'll catch you next time.
Sure thing. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Listeners, thank you for listening. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at RR30K Podcast. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/RR30K Podcast. Special shout out to all our patrons, Emily O'Hare, Gardener of the Tree of Woe, and Joe from Music City Heresy, Chris Mack, and Alex Sell. Thank you all so much for donating to our Patreon. And with that, my name is Jesse Irvin. I'm here with Ryan, Dave Taylor, Caleb from CK Studios, and Shane from the Road to Damnation podcast. I'm Jesse Irvin. Have a good night and keep those dice rolling.
Bye.